I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about, will my ex forget about me if I go no contact?
No.
I was going to say yes.
I thought our timing was pretty good.
Our timing was good.
Boy, we get this asked all the time. And I think we could do a weekly video on it just to reassure you guys. But, one of the scariest things and counterintuitive things you could do in a breakup is to leave your ex alone and stop reaching out, which is literally the last thing you want to do. Mm-hmm. So Margaret has some research today that she put together for us, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes, because we address this issue almost every time we get together to record, and that's fine. And we know it's counterintuitive, okay? So you want me to not talk to her in order to get her back? What sense does that make? We understand. But there are all different kinds of logic, all right?
Yep.
All right. So your ex, he or she, may be able to get rid of your picture and your phone number, but he or she cannot get rid of the memories you made together. Okay?
That can't happen.
It cannot happen, and that's why we try to reassure you by saying that's just not how human people are made, and people say to us every week, But I've heard from the ubiquitous third party that my friend is seeing somebody new and looks very happy, okay? So it's very hard to believe that they're not going to forget about you. All right. The brain develops pathways used on learned patterns.
Okay.
So if you live in a routine, a pattern with a partner, your brain can retain traces of that circuitry even after you have bonded with someone else.
Very interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
In other words, so you're never going to forget the ex. Even if you finally find the love of your life and you're very happy, you still have the memories you had with this ex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think that I haunt the exes.
Yeah, right. Pop up in their mirror and say, yeah, you're going to have a terrible day. Yeah.
Every time they see a Star Wars commercial.
You probably have them there, yeah.
Which is on a weekly basis at this point.
Yeah.
With all the new shows and movies coming out.
Yeah.
Now they can't stop thinking about me. Now it's the opposite. I can't stop thinking about my ex.
All right, I want to talk about Dr. Helen Fisher. Now, we haven't talked about Dr. Helen Fisher for a while, but in the beginning, we pulled extensively from her work, and I have kind of rediscovered her now, so you may be hearing more about her.
Yeah.
Dr. Fisher explains millions of years ago, the trees began to disappear, okay? And we had to get out of them. Remember, we lived in the trees originally, all right? I liked it when I was a kid. I was willing to live in the trees if I could have. But we had to come down out of the trees if we wanted to continue to live. So we would climb on down and then rush onto the grasslands and stand up on 2 feet, which was fairly new to us, collect what we could to eat, and rush back to the trees where we were safe and off the ground. Mm-hmm. All right? Now, I got a visual of this. Now, I know that people in antiquity were much smaller than we are now. There was an Egyptian exhibit one time a few years ago that was just wonderful, and it showed their beds, and they were for somebody like not even 4 feet tall, all right?
So about my size.
Yeah, how about your size? So anyway, here's all these funny, furry little people, right? Running like heck out of the trees, running around the grasslands crazy, trying to find food, and then running back under the trees. When I get a visual of this, it cracks me up, right?
Yeah.
Think of your extended family running around, all right?
I can see it.
Yeah. So this was a dangerous affair that we had to climb down there to get food and then get away as soon as we can. I imagine that by the time the other animals got savvy for it, there was a crowd waiting for them to come down, Yesterday they came at 1:10. Let's look for them by 2 o'clock today. All right. And so we'd eat and we'd rush back. This was the beginning of standing and walking. All right, we didn't have to do that before. We lived in the trees. And with that, women had to begin to carry their babies in their arms instead of on their back, because you just couldn't negotiate it. All right. So females began to need a partner to help them rear their babies. And we evolved to the concept of a two-parent family. In the human animal, the brain circuit for romantic love and for deep, profound attachment to another individual is built in. Okay? So in other words, we had to keep Craig at home so that he'd keep bringing home whatever he got on the grassy plain. All right?
Some fresh tiger.
Some fresh tiger, yeah. And maybe
I slayed it myself.
All the better then. Okay. So females needed men to stay around. In the human animal, the brain circuit for romantic love and for deep, profound attachment to another individual is built in. Like hunger and thirst, it is almost impossible to stamp it out. Okay? Meaning our need for connection. We can't stamp it out. It's a huge basic need.
It's so biologically hardwired into us.
That's
you
right.
just can't forget about people that you're attached to.
And this capacity to be attached to others is what makes us human. So it's a big deal, right? Maybe there are animals more thoughtful than we are, who knows? Dr. Fisher would like to pass on to us that she has come to think that romantic love is a drive, okay?
And that makes sense to me.
Yes, it does. A basic mating drive, not the sex drive. The sex drive gets us out there for a whole range of partners, a whole range of people that we can meet. Romantic love enables us to focus our mating energy on just one person at a time, conserve our mating energy, and start the mating process with a single individual. Okay? Not that everybody lives their life that way, but we'll talk about that another day. Love is a need and an urge. Her final statement says, "Love is us. It is deeply embedded in the brain. Our challenge is to understand each other." All right? So in our research, I and my colleague, Dr. Lucy Brown, a neuroscientist, looked at the brain scans of a number of people who had just been dumped. Okay?
All right, listen up, people. These are brain scans, okay? You're going to argue with us, then listen to the brain scans.
That's right. The reward system for wanting or motivating us to look for what we want and for focus become more active when you can't get what you want. All right, which I think is a point that Craig frequently makes. If we're trying to get something and we can't get it, we become much more focused and active.
We become like obsessed.
Absolutely. Yeah. In this case, life's greatest prize is an appropriate mating partner, and that's huge. Okay? So by all of this, we're saying, understand, there's no way someone who has had a relationship with you, been with you for any length of time, is going to be able to forget you, even if they want to. You will haunt them.
Yep.
All right? Music is a big thing that reminds you of people. Certain foods,
shows or movies you watch together.
Shows, yeah.
Even places you went.
Even places you went together. So even if your partner wants to forget you, they can't. All right?
They can't. They really can't.
We mean it when we say it. It's not possible. So, Freud always said the two human drives are sex and aggression. And, sex and loving stuff was always kind of put under sex. But she's saying it's almost like a separate drive for us to have people to love and to love us and to help us raise that little fuzzy thing that we produced. All right?
Yes.
We're not making it up, honest to God.
This is important for you guys to understand, to put you at ease. Stay motivated on the personal growth, because Margaret, one of the things that I always see is the person is motivated when they think they have a chance.
Yeah.
If they don't think they have a chance to get them back, their motivation level just flattens and drops.
Yeah.
And that simply isn't the way that it works. You have to stay motivated, act as if you'll have one more shot with them, because just because they're not interested right now, just because you haven't heard from them right now, it doesn't mean it will stay the same way.
No.
It truly doesn't.
Yeah, and I also hope that you find some reassurance in this.
Yes.
What I liked about what you said, Margaret, was you brought attention to the psychological and also the biological responses that people have
Yep.
after a breakup. And your ex can't escape that as a part of being a human being. There's a level of withdrawal that's similar to a drug addiction.
Yep.
When you stop cold turkey on a drug, your body has responses, your mind has responses, and a breakup is very similar to that.
Yep.
So even if it was your ex's decision to end the relationship, they are still dealing with that psychological break and separation from you.
Absolutely.
Maybe thinking about it as a ha-ha, you can't forget me even if you try, would improve your mood some days. But people sometimes, I think, are so down on themselves after a breakup that they don't like, they're hearing from their critical inner voice and they're putting themselves down and they're wondering what they did wrong. And sometimes I think it's hard to remember that. But what if he wants to forget me? He can't. Relax.
Yeah.
She can't. Relax.
And then you also see them on social media, happy. And so it's not always what it seems.
That's absolutely true, and we hear that. And sometimes exes admit it. I had an ex admit it recently. I was trying to look happy on social media when I was miserable. Just heard it about a week ago.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's always nice to hear.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we like to keep reminding you that all is not lost.
All right.
All right.
I hope you found this helpful and it reassures you a bit. We have other videos on feeling like you're going to be forgotten in no contact. You can check those out. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can get on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is also available.
If you think I can be helpful, please sign up.
And Victoria is also available.
I'm excited to speak with you.
And you can find them on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.